In most big cities around the world, there are affluent neighborhoods. These affluent neighborhoods are residential areas where wealthy individuals or families reside, characterized by high property values, luxury homes, and upscale amenities. These areas often offer superior infrastructure, low crime rates, and access to elite schools and services. What are the factors that make these areas expensive and a magnet for the wealthy? Here are the key reasons. Factor number 1. High property values. Homes are often expensive, large, and architecturally distinct. Factor number 2. Exclusive amenities. Access to private clubs, high-end retail, gourmet restaurants, and luxury services. Factor number 3. High-quality infrastructure. Well-maintained roads, green spaces, and modern utilities. Factor number 4. Low crime rates, often perceived as safer due to private security, surveillance, or low population density. Factor number 5. Prestigious schools. Proximity to top-rated public or private schools. Factor number 6. Social status. Living in such areas is often associated with prestige and elevated social standing. In Lagos, Nigeria, which areas come to your mind when thinking about affluent areas? Lekki, Victoria Island, and Ikoyi. In this video, we will focus on Lekki. The question we are focusing on is, does Lekki meet all 6 points we outlined at the beginning of this video? The answer is no. Lekki is incredibly expensive and most sought after by celebrities, the wealthy, and politicians. The fact that Lekki is very expensive is an irony, and we will soon point that out. There are significant flaws in the planning and development of Lekki, and we will enumerate these flaws one by one. The Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development has done a terrible job of not planning the Lekki Peninsula properly, allowing all the flaws and resulting in the problems Lekki face today. Lekki is prone to flooding, and we will point out several scientific reasons why flooding is happening. It is only going to get worse. With what the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development has done, anyone who thinks the flooding problem will be solved easily must be simple-minded. Lekki should be one of the cheapest areas in Lagos State, but ironically, it is not. We will present 3 fundamental scientific reasons why the Lekki flooding and associated problems will only get worse and worse year after year. If you are planning to buy a plot of land or a house in Lekki, this video is for you. After watching this video, you will discover why buying a house or a plot of land in Lekki is riddled with huge problems, and in the end, may not be worth the money spent. You will be buying a house or land that will be flooded most of the time during the rainy season. The evidences we will present are based on science, and let us begin by laying the groundwork. Why is Lekki going to be in perpetual flooding? The flooding problem has to do with the geology of the Lekki Peninsula, which was neglected by the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. Let us briefly understand the geology, as the answers to the flooding problems hinge on this. Please pay special attention to the geology. The Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development refused to factor in the geology in the planning and development of Lekki. They were just interested in selling land without paying attention to the geology. They were only interested in making money from land deals and ignored the science. The geology of the Lekki Peninsula. Lekki is characterized by coastal and alluvial deposits formed during the Quaternary period. The geology mainly comprises of unconsolidated sediments like sand, thin lenses of clay and silt deposited by marine and fluvial processes. The area lies within the coastal plain of southwestern Nigeria, underlain by sedimentary formations of the Dahomey Basin. Due to its low elevation and loose soil composition, Lekki is prone to flooding and has high groundwater levels. Can you see something very striking about the geology? It is mainly composed of unconsolidated sediments like sands, silts, and lenses of clay. The geology underlying Lekki has huge reservoir potential, but creates 2 key problems. The flooding problem ravaging Lekki comes from geology. We will point out where the Lagos state government missed it big in the planning and development of Lekki, so stay tuned. Reason number 1. Lekki has a water table very close to the surface, less than 2 meters. This is one of the problems that the geology of Lekki presents. It is the fundamental problem that is causing the flooding in Lekki. Stay tuned as we explain how. Because the sediments underlying Lekki are very porous and pervious, it has elevated groundwater levels. The water table is often less than 2 meters below the surface. Some may not be familiar with what water table is. So what is water table? Let's put it in simple terms. Imagine you are drilling a well. The depth at which you encounter sufficient groundwater is known as the water table. It is the upper surface of the zone of saturation, where the soil or rocks are fully saturated with water. In Lekki, the water table, or groundwater level, is often around 1.4 meters below the surface. What happens during the rainy season? The groundwater level is raised further, and the whole sediments are filled up with water. This is the fundamental reason why Lekki is prone to flooding. We are dealing with a water table that is very close to the surface. Lekki gets around 1,936 millimeters of rainfall annually. If you look at the figure, you can see that Lekki is just a thin strip of land surrounded by water. You can see that rainwater plus water coming from the sea all contribute to raising the water table and filling up the spaces. Looking at this kind of geology, one would expect the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development to have sat down and planned very carefully by collecting hydrogeological statistics. But no, they did not. The question is, what did the Lagos State government miss? Here are things that the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development missed. Number 1. Right at the inception of Lekki, the Lagos state government ought to have collected hydrogeological measurements of Lekki and the surrounding areas for an appreciable period, like 6 years or more. Measurements like the fluctuating water table, volume of precipitation, fluctuating sea level, amount and nature of runoff, and much more. If one has this hydrogeological information, one can plan very well to avoid the predicament that Lekki residents are currently passing through. With this information, the Lagos state government can implement the following measures. Measure number 1. Site selection and zoning using hydrogeological maps of Lekki. The Lagos state government can identify areas with very shallow water tables and poor drainage. Avoid building critical infrastructure, e.g. hospitals, power stations, in areas most vulnerable to rising groundwater. Use zoning to restrict development in high-risk flood zones. If you ask the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development to produce a hydrogeological map of Lekki, I doubt if they have such a document. Can you see where the Lagos state government missed it? They ignored the science. No hydrogeological statistics. Instead of investing in collecting information that will help them to plan, they did not. They allowed people to build on areas prone to flooding. Measure number 2. If the Lagos state government had credible hydrogeological statistics, it could have planned for drainage and groundwater management for Lekki and the surrounding areas. Install subsurface drainage systems. Install under drains or French drains to intercept and redirect rising groundwater. Design interceptor drains around buildings or roads to prevent water intrusion. Lekki should have a subsurface drainage system installed to counter the rising groundwater levels to prevent flooding and protect buildings. Sadly, the Lagos state government is clueless regarding the hydrogeological statistics of Lekki, let alone measures like installing underground drainage. Can you see the kind of Lagos President Bola Ahmed Tinubu claims he built? The Lagos state government took no action regarding these measures. Instead, they were busy making massive land deals and raking in millions of naira, and people were building anyhow, even on lands very prone to rising groundwater levels and flooding. The Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development ignored the science, and perennial floods are ravaging Lekki. People are very ignorant of the fundamental cause of the flooding and wish that the flood would go away. 99.9% of surface drainages in Nigeria don't work because they become filled up with sand and dirt after construction, and they are not maintained properly. The only compensating factors that prevent most Nigerian cities from flooding are water tables that lie several meters deep, and some areas receive limited millimeters of rainfall annually. In Lekki, even if there is functioning surface drainage, it needs much deeper than that. Unfortunately, Lekki faces triple problems in this regard: non-functioning surface drainage, very shallow water table, and lack of well-planned subsurface drainage. Watch these reports and see the problems practically. The Lagos state government and the estate developers did not plan. There is no proper drainage, let alone taking into account the geology and hydrogeology of Lekki. No subsurface drainage is installed to counter the rising groundwater level. People were just buying land in a so-called affluent area without realizing that no proper planning and implementation had been done. Now they are battling with flooding and land subsidence due to a rising water table in unconsolidated sediments.
This is the back of people's houses. Once it rains, it does not go anywhere. You can see the color of the water, which is greenish in nature.
A place it dreads going after 6 p.m.
About 2 months after I moved in here, I noticed that the back of my unit looked like it was sinking. If you can see from what's happening here, this used to be a sewage pit previously, but it was poorly filled. What they used was, empty bags of cement, roughages from the houses, and then a little sand. So what has happened over time is that the back of my unit has slowly been sinking. You can see the paving stones are all caving in. The fence is broken down. I can practically do nothing here at all. Now, I've been discussing with Lekki Gardens for quite a while now, over 6 months. Until date, nothing has been done.
Watch another report on the flooding problems: sitting rooms smelling, children getting sick.
Still, the complainants are not moved. They continue to vent.
The estate was planned and built without drainage. If you look at this, round the whole of this place now, the whole water from the estate comes to this point. And you can hear that machine sounding over there. They propose that they want to use that machine to pump the entire water that comes into this place into that canal, and another machine from the canal across the fence. So that is what they are planning to do, which I do not see as a visible plan. I asked a question at the onset of this program. If rain falls for 3 days, can this machine, pumping machine, work under the rain? The answer was no. And if the machine could not work under the rain, then what happens after 3 days of flood, the entire flood in the estate? My house premium has gone up twice, the value. I've brought 3 insurance companies here to protect my property. They said they could not at the normal rate because of this flood, that it is a high risk.
Watch another report on the flooding problems: people are getting sick from sewage water. The hype about Lekki is down to this.
Anytime it rains, some people can't really come out of their house because you have to use your car for you to be able to come out of your house. So it's that's one. Then
The protest appears to have been convened after a downpour, as deposits of rainwater resulting from flash flood is noticed on roads within the estate.
Yeah, but what we are seeing here now is not ordinary flooding.
While these rain deposits could easily be overlooked, what is however unusual is that they mix with sewage spillage, according to residents. And this results to environmental hazards. The sewage treatment plant is not working optimally.
What we are facing here is unacceptable standard. The health hazards is so much here. We have flood. What you see here now, this flood you see, is just for some few minutes rain. If it is a day, you will not even be able to stand here. So you have this. And one important thing that you should know, that we want Richard to know, is that it's not ordinary water that you see here. You see water, the flood, mixed with sewage system. So,
and I'll be showing you what people go through every time it rains.
Reason number 2, low sea level. Lekki is surrounded by seas and lies a few meters above sea level and is especially vulnerable to coastal flooding, storm surges, and sea level rise. To prevent flooding in such low-lying areas, the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development planners should have factored this in at the inception of Lekki. Lekki is a low-lying area, and the surrounding seas contribute to the rising groundwater level. Planners should have prioritized zoning regulations to restrict development in low-lying, high-risk flood zones. They should have integrated effective drainage systems and pumping stations capable of handling both stormwater and tidal inflows, especially during heavy rains. Planners needed to enforce elevated building designs and flood-resilient construction. Coastal protection infrastructure, such as seawalls, levees, and tidal gates, should have been constructed to guard against ocean surges and rising sea levels. President Bola Tinubu is bragging that he built Lagos. Well, this is the kind of Lagos he built. Reason number 3, saltwater intrusion, no fresh groundwater. Before we discuss this point, watch this investor who laments about the lack of water in Lekki.
Now, this place was sold to us as luxury. They told us 24/7 light. They told us clean drinking water, blah, 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 blah. This is meant to be the banana island of Lekki Phase 1. And I'm fed up. We are all fed up. We've been complaining about water is brown, water is brown. What are you doing to me? I'm destroying your business. What are you doing to me? Is this okay? Hey, please, water, please come. Water, please come. Water. Please come. Come. No water 24 fucking hours.
this is unacceptable.
You can see the sewage treatment plant is not working. What we are standing on at the moment as we speak, I'm standing on fecal material, feces, spillages from drainages and all that.
The truth is, there is no fresh water in Lekki. Most of these expensive estates are failing to provide fresh water to their residents. Let us understand the problem. What is saltwater intrusion? Saltwater intrusion is the process by which salt water from the sea moves into freshwater aquifers, contaminating underground water sources. This typically occurs in coastal areas like Lekki, Nigeria, where groundwater extraction plus rising sea levels reduce the pressure of the freshwater, allowing saltwater to move inland. In Lekki, saltwater intrusion is a growing concern due to its low elevation, proximity to the Atlantic Ocean, and rapid urbanization without adequate water management. The disastrous effects include: Number 1. Contaminated drinking water. Salt water makes groundwater unsafe for human consumption, increasing dependence on expensive alternatives like bottled or treated water. Number 2. Damage to agriculture. Salinized soil and irrigation water in Lekki can reduce crop yields or render land infertile. Number 3. Infrastructure corrosion. Salty groundwater can corrode pipes, foundations, and water tanks, leading to costly repairs and shortened building lifespans. Number 4. Public health risks. Lekki residents face increased health issues such as dehydration or high blood pressure from consuming high salinity water. Number 5. Water scarcity. As aquifers become unusable, Lekki's water supply shrinks, leading to shortages and conflicts over access to clean water. Can you see that Lekki is overrated? With all these problems that we have enumerated, Lekki is supposed to be one of the cheapest places in Lagos. From problems of flooding to lack of fresh groundwater, the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development has failed woefully. With all the hype about Lekki, the area is reduced to flooding, a lack of fresh drinking water, and a host of other problems. Don't fall for all the hype about Lekki. think carefully before buying a house or a plot of land there.